Good morning. Welcome to the CalCAP CARB Lender Webinar. I'm Doreen Smith, CalCAP Manager. Joining me today is the CalCAP staff and our colleagues from the Air Resources Board. We will be providing important updates regarding the CalCAP CARB Heavy Duty Vehicle Air Loan Program. As one housekeeping note, please put yourself on mute. Thank you. Our agenda today will cover the following topics: CalCAP CARB by the numbers, borrower certification updates, CARB's focus on zero emission, stay up to date, and questions at the end. As of January 31st, 2023, the CalCAP CARB program has enrolled 40,182 loans for a total loan amount of over $2.94 billion. The CalCAP CARB contribution to the loan loss reserve accounts for these loans is approximately $242.3 million. 41,357 trucks have been funded. 1,227 trailers have been funded. Okay, you all should know that the borrower certification form has been updated, and this was sent out via email to all of our CARB lenders. It is important to begin using this form if you have not already. The fiscal year allocation from CARB, the 2022-2023 CARB allocation program, allocated $28.64 million for the truck loan assistance program. This updated interagency agreement for the funding requires updates to the borrower certification form. So when we're using this new funding that was allocated in November, all loans receiving contributions with that funding are required to use the new form. So the new form was distributed to lenders on January 20th, and you should have started using it for any loans initiated after that time. And as I stated, once we new funds, the new form will be required, so a loan will be sent back to you if you have not used it. Okay. Now we'll take a look at this updated form. Now right here on section 1, item D, a disclaimer was added for CARB's proposed Advanced Clean Fleets regulation. So the borrower must agree that they are aware that CARB's proposed regulation will require the phase-in of heavy-duty zero-emission vehicles, sets an end date for combustion-powered vehicle sales in California, and their purchase with an enrolled loan may affect their compliance. For Section 1, Item E, a website link for prospective borrowers to attest to labor code compliance as required by Assembly Bill 794. So these are two added items to Section 1 on the borrower certification form. There have been no changes to Section 2. Additional language was added to Section 3, which is highlighted here, and it is added for the borrower to certify that all statements and responses made in this self-certification are true and correct, with full knowledge that all statements and responses are subject to investigation and that any incomplete, unclear, false, or dishonest response may be grounds for a borrower's disqualification in the CalCAP CARB program and may also result in the borrower being barred from participating in any other California-sponsored or other state programs or from doing business with the state of California. And as an additional reminder, besides the updates to the certification, is that your annual authorized signers list, points of contact, and your CalCAP certificate to participate was due to CalCAP on January 30th. So if you have not submitted your 2023 certificate to participate, authorized signers list, and points of contact list, please submit it to CalCAP as soon as possible. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to discuss a little bit about the Air Resources Board's focus on zero emission. So the model year schedule in the truck and bus regulation came to an end January 1st, 2023. So a 2010 or newer engine is required, except for some exemptions. Department of Motor Vehicle Compliance verification will only allow trucks that are compliant with this truck and bus regulation to be registered by the DMV. CARB expects that fleets will continue to turn over vehicles throughout 2023 to meet the final regulation deadline and the DMV registration requirements. With all sales of new passenger vehicles in trucks in the state required to be zero emission by 2035, all drayage trucks required to be zero emission by 2035 where feasible, all other vehicles in the medium and heavy duty fleet required to transition to zero emission by 2045 as described in Executive Order N7920, and CARB is transitioning support to zero emission vehicles. CARB approved funding for a new zero emission truck loan pilot project, which is designed to combine financing for both heavy duty zero emission vehicles and financing the charging or fueling infrastructure. CARB will partner with the California Energy Commission and build on the successful relationship with CPCFA and the truck loan program to and support participating lenders. CARB invites lenders to provide input and participation in the new zero emission loan pilot. The Air Quality Improvement Program, which has been the main source of funding for the current truck loan assistance program, is currently authorized by the legislature through January 1st, 2024. So that is part of the reason why CARB is switching to zero electric, per the executive order leading that way, and also per the Air Resources Board leaning towards ending the funding for the current program, and funding is now mostly going to be towards zero emission projects. Okay, in order for you to stay up to date with the latest information and updates from CalCAP and CPCFA, we recommend you sign up for our listserv, which can be found on our website, and the link is here. We also encourage you to follow us on Twitter at CalCPCFA. Now, if we have any questions or comments at this time, you can put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and ask a question.
This is Dave Kramer from Amur.
Hello.
Could you repeat what you said about the CARB the piece that's expiring this year, where nothing older than 2010 will be registered? Could you repeat what you said there?
Yes. The model year schedule in the truck and bus regulation came to an end January 1st, 2023. So now that means that a 2010 or newer engine is required to be registered with the DMV and to be compliant with the truck and bus regulation. And if you, I do have some CARB staff on the call if you need clarification on the particular regulation.
No, it was good. I just needed the dates and
Gotcha.
when it affected.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, and as always, if you have questions after this, or you have questions regarding the new form while you're working with your borrowers and enrolling loans, please reach out to CalCAP staff. You can email us, calcap@treasurer.ca.gov, and we will work with you on making sure everything is up to date and processing appropriately. And if you, CARB is definitely interested in any information, comments you have regarding zero emission vehicles and trucks. So they're developing the pilot program. So also if you have any questions regarding that or any comments regarding the financing of these vehicles, please also let us know that. And if you're interested in speaking directly with CARB staff, we can facilitate an introduction for you to them. Okay.
Hi, Doreen, this is Suzanne with Crossroads.
Hi,
How are
Suzanne.
you?
Great.
Did you say the funding for the current program ends January 1st of 2024 or December 31st of 2024? I missed that.
Pretty sure I said January 1st.
Okay.
Yeah. So the funding that was just approved at the November CARB meeting is the last guaranteed funding for the current program. So it will really be up to the Air Resources Board if anyone determines to provide additional funding.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit more about that, Doreen. This is Jessica Johnson. I'm the manager overseeing the CARB program at CARB in partnership with CPCFA and the CalCAP team. To answer your question, Suzanne, like Doreen said, our funding has come from the Air Quality Improvement Fund. Those funds are authorized to come to CARB until January 1st of 2024. So it remains to be seen whether the legislature will choose to reauthorize those funds. That has been our main source of funding for the truck loan assistance program. And almost all of our other funding sources are focused on zero emission and moving away from diesel. So that is something that we're, that's on the horizon. And Doreen was right. The last round of funding that we had in the last funding plan was allocated to us for $28.64 million. We are starting our next funding plan process for this next upcoming budget year, but without further action from the legislature. Anything that goes toward anything that we talk about within the AQIP program would be just that half a year allocation through January 1st of 2024. That's half the fiscal year. So we do have a funding plan process that we go through. It's open to the public. We invite all of the stakeholders. Maybe some of you have been involved with it before, but we'll be kicking that off later this year to talk about, and that within that funding plan discussion, the latter half of what we would expect from the legislature for that last 6 months of the program appropriation would be part of that funding plan.
Okay, I appreciate the detailed response.
Sure.
Thanks, Jessica. We have a hand raised. Savak? If you unmute, you can go ahead.
There we go. Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
I think you partially answered my question about this January 1, 2024. I have a two-part question. Currently, we're saying trucks with engines that are 2010 or newer. What was the previous requirement as far as the model year 2010, and when was it? Because I'm trying to put a timeline together that say comes 2024 and legislature, starts making revisions. They come back and say, now we require 2013 truck engines or newer. Do you have that information?
Yeah, what I can share with you is our truck and bus regulation. The truck and bus regulation was first approved in 2008 and it was subsequently amended in 2010 and 2014. And that had an engine model year schedule built into the regulatory requirements. So it was phased in over time. And I can get you to the point where you can see the tables for the different model years and when they were due to turn over.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Anybody else? Okay. Again, please, if you think of something after the fact, please reach out to us, email us, and we will get back to you. And if necessary, we'll connect you with CARB for any further details from their side. And we thank you very much for participating in the CalCAP program and look forward to our continued partnership. Thank you for joining us today, and we will speak to you again soon. Thank you.